and welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the jobs podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. We are on episode, correct me if I'm wrong, but this will be episode, I'm not vamping, 94. Episode 94 of show. Jesus, what is this sound? What is that sound? I'm freaking out. Okay, I keep a cool head. Episode 94 of one of the shows you forgot that you were still subscribed to. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the Jobs Podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I said, it's a website. Go there. All right. Last week, I ended the show with just an unassuredness of employment. I think that day, or within 24 hours, I get a phone call from okay, let me just summarize the past couple of months. I get an interview this is pissing me off. This is really pissing me off. I get an interview. Sorry. I get an interview in September from a cable platform, or from a recruiter who represents a cable platform. They're working together. It's not like they're representing. Anyway. She says, hey, they have this job. Do you think you'll be a good fit? I say yes. We go through a whole discussion rigmarole. I send over an updated resume and all the appropriate things. Great. I land an interview. I get past that interview, I do another interview. Get past that interview, I do another interview. I think there were 3. There might have been 4. I keep telling myself there were 4, but I don't remember. And this happens in September. And it goes throughout September, October, and November. Unbeknownst to me, my recruiter goes on vacation for 2 weeks, including the week of Thanksgiving. The following Monday, here's the thing. People who aren't in the industry may say, go, just keep asking. That does not happen for everybody. Trust me. I used to, when I was on LinkedIn, as of a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I was always trying to talk to recruiters who were always ignoring me. Especially the ones at Warner Brothers. It's ridiculous. How are you going to follow me on LinkedIn but then not talk to me? They know who they are. Anyway, but then post like mental health shit. Anyway, it's a very specific, it's one person and that person does not work there anymore. Anyway, on Monday, she says, oh, the job's still open. So that's not bad news. And I go, okay. I get a phone. I'm cleaning. If you can't see it, but if you're watching the video, then it doesn't matter. There's at the corner of where the high top counter is. There's an air purifier, and it was going off all morning long. Truth be told, it was going off since Thanksgiving. Not because I burned anything, just because when it smells something, it's like I gotta turn it on as loud as possible. I decided to clean it that morning. It was Wednesday morning. And then I get a phone call. Wednesday afternoon, I get a phone call from the recruiter who is screaming with joy, saying that I've been hired at this company. Let's not pussyfoot around, baby. So this person was screaming with joy that I've been hired. And I was like, whoa, this is great. This is fantastic. She goes, I have no details. She's like, I have no details right now. But I called you as soon as the email came in. I was like, oh, shit, all right. And then I don't have anyone to tell. So I texted my mom. I said, are you at work? She's like, yes. And I go, oh, okay, I got the job. And then what I assume, she has an office. So what I assume is like she left or closed the door to her office and was like, you got it? Good. Details. She's very much not an emotive person. And then throughout the next day and a half, so that Wednesday and into Thursday, my recruiter called me. And again, I do not. This is no fault, no blame, nothing. I was glad for the phone calls 6 times, 6 total times, including that original call, and it was just like a lot of stuff that would be put in the emails, which is great. But it was just like her feeding me information as soon as she got it, or like asking me questions when she needed the answer immediately. Because people aren't just hanging. I mean, I am hanging out by my email all the time. I have now work email and regular email just popped open. I'm not doing anything. So yeah, I've started the position. I started it. Oh, so this is last Wednesday. Today is December 9th, Tuesday, December 9th. This was last Wednesday. I guess that's just December 1st, I think, for a second. And then I was like, yeah, I can start Monday. Let's do it. Now, the original timeline, I believe, for hiring was October. But then, things happen. This same, and this is a job I was telling people at the gym, because that is the only time I talk to human beings. This is a job that I literally did at Cartoon Network, except now it's at AMC. So that's 2 years ago at this point. But this is the same, not 2 years ago. This is 3 years ago. When did 2020 into 2023, I think? And then I was let go. And then I got CNN. Yeah. Yes, that is correct. So this is like almost 3 years later. I'm doing the exact same job, and I was hired pretty much in the same way. Lots of interviews over the course of a couple of months, and it's the same job, which is very cool. Which doesn't bode well. I gotta keep an eye out in 3 years. No, everybody I spoke to was great. Right now, again, we're only in the early days, and I don't know how it is at corporate jobs, because I've I've worked for corporations, like at Bounce TV, I worked for EW Scripts. So I did deal with that corporate BS, but yeah, I will say, if you work at a more not creative, but if you work at a more non-buttoned up job, I guess, things are slow going when it comes to you getting access to stuff. Case in point, at Warner Brothers, for Cartoon Network and even CNN, and then for this current position, it's you are given the technology I'm talking about. So like getting IT stuff, getting access to different systems, it takes a minute. Versus at EW Scripts, I was just like we were in the office, and all the corporate stuff was handled immediately. It's so far so good. I mean, it's been a day and a half, and I enjoy it. The person training me is very kind. Has a cat bitten into this? Oh my goodness. Anyway, sorry, looking at a cable and I saw it. Anyway, and yeah, I'm excited. This is great. Now my days are filled with, reading. I just finished the style guide for reading the style guide for one of the networks. I'm not going to be specific about anything I'm doing. I will get a computer eventually. Right now I'm working off of this my Mac, which is unfortunately slowing down, showing signs of age. But yeah, here we are. This is it feels good to have something to look forward to every day. Like this morning when I was at the gym and I was doing leg stuff, I was like, I have to get out of here. 4 hours ahead of time. If you don't know, I wake up at 3:45 to go to get ready for the gym, and then I work out, and then I was doing Peloton when I got back, and I'm like, I've got 2 hours until I get to work. I wake up so early. I'm only running on 2 cups of coffee, which is fantastic. You know, I get addicted. I addicted to that caffeine. At lunchtime, I had to take Maverick out, or at a time I deemed lunchtime, I took Maverick out. Now I know it's going to pick up eventually, so I am using this time wisely. As I said, I did look over the style guide for a couple of the networks. It is involved in a streaming platform as well. This company, so that's great. Yeah, we're moving along. You know, but I will talk about the hold on, I do have to answer a message. I will talk about this new hostile takeover that's coming from Paramount. Now, on Friday, I'll tell you this. I did not record the Constitutionals on Thursday because I only had 2 stories, and it was something I was like, all right, I'll just put it off till Friday because it's not special. I wake up for the gym at 3:45, as I previously mentioned. When I wake up, I see an email that says Netflix has entered exclusive talks with Warner Brothers Discovery, and I went, whoa. While I go to the gym, I do my thing. I'm sitting here stretching, and it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. Again, it takes me forever to work out. It's like 7:30 o'clock in the morning, and I get another email. It says, "Hey, there's a hostile takeover." Oh no, excuse me. Netflix and Warner Brothers have agreed on a deal. Paramount. To summarize everything I said on Friday, because I did record there's a bunch of stories that came out about the whole ordeal, and I decided to just record as the stories came in, or I like to record all the stories that I got from that morning and that afternoon. And there's a lot of hot takes from me. The same hot take. Out of the 3 companies, Netflix, Comcast, NBC Universal, and Paramount Skydance, that wanted to purchase Warner Brothers, I said at the time that Netflix is still was the best option. Paramount last week, David Ellison, they sent what is it called? Letters saying that with their bids to Warner Brothers, saying it's not fair. You're giving more attention to Netflix. Netflix offered $83 billion. This past Monday, Paramount offered $103 billion, and which is like overpricing Warner Brothers. And the stockholders at Warner Brothers Discovery, it's a hostile takeover, so the stockholders can look at it and accept it and go over the board's head. I think, and again, I'm a nobody, but I still think, and I'm a nobody who works in the industry, and as much as I am displeased by how Netflix operates, I think the best company out of all 3 would have been Netflix, and it still is Netflix. I did just listen to Kara Swisher and Scott Galloway's podcast, Pivot, and they were talking about the whole idea. And for once, Scott was defending the artists, and Kara was on capitalism's side. But and she suggested that Comcast is probably the best one because they just spun off their cable networks, and then they could have spun CNN off with Versant as well, and blah blah blah. But anyway, I still think Netflix is the best one for now. They have the means to run the company well. Right now we're in an age of tech when it comes to the industry, and that's the whole thing. That's it. I think Netflix is the better idea, the better candidate. Unfortunately, in a couple of years, I think that the Netflix will let's say, not ruin Warner Brothers, but I do think that it will maybe not even taint the legacy, but kind of do what they did with their shows and make it a little bit vanilla, make everything vanilla. You know, the way that they put out TV shows on Netflix and movies on Netflix, everything is just kind of for everybody. Whereas the Chair Company would never survive outside of HBO. Fiona and Cake would never survive outside of HBO. It probably would. It Welcome to Dairy. Although I do like that show. But it is an IP show. And there's nothing really surprising about it because you know where Halloran is going to end up at some point. But I really think that Netflix is the better candidate. And, you know, if I were Ted Sarandos, and unfortunately, this unfortunately has to happen. This unfortunately has to happen. If this were 10 years ago, this wouldn't make sense. But right now, tech is overtaking entertainment. There's many different ways to watch things. And I think Netflix will do justice to the HBO name for a little bit of time. I think if Paramount Skydance purchase was able to get this deal done, that would be less of a monopoly than Netflix, HBO, or Netflix, Warner Brothers. But I don't know if Paramount Skydance can even. They're borrowing money to buy a company like that. You shouldn't want foreign foreign entities coming in and saying, you know, what should be on HBO Max and what shouldn't. You shouldn't want that. And even still, I think David Ellison said that he wanted to sunset HBO Max and put everything on Paramount Plus. That app sucks. So no, that's not going to happen. And if anything, I don't know. If this deal does go through next year, I think Netflix should, and they did not. Ted Sarandos definitely said that they do not want to buy legacy media, and that means TV networks. But you do purchase HBO, and Cinemax. I do think that they could treat HBO Max as kind of the niche offering, and then I also saw a headline article a couple of hours ago that said Netflix will still allow Warner Brothers to make shows for other places, like how Abbott Elementary is produced by Warner Brothers, but it is on ABC, things like that. But I think, you know, we've seen how niche streaming platforms and niche networks even can do well. You know, if Paramount continued doing great things with Paramount Network, then that network would be right up there with HBO. It'd be right up there with AMC and other networks that people still currently watch, but they dropped the ball when it came to Yellowstone. So anyway, So anyway, as I was saying, Netflix should treat HBO Max as kind of the niche streamer where there's only like what they have on there now plus more HBO stuff because they could afford the residuals. And then, you know, at some, you know, and say like, hey, we on Netflix, you know, you can watch, I don't know, what's an HBO show? You can watch Insecure, you can watch Entourage, but on HBO Max, you can watch that plus all this other HBO stuff. And I do hope, and I also saw David Ellison say that Paramount Skydance is going to do 30 movies in theaters over the calendar years, over in a year. But I don't know if that's going to be true or not. I hope Netflix. I'm trying to have that optimism that people have over stupid things, but I hope Netflix still. Ted Sarandos did say that they're committed to theatrical releases, but the windows will change. Don't just because sometimes things are rushed doesn't mean that but these windows are rushed, doesn't mean that it's going to work for every single movie. I think Superman, James Gunn's Superman, was one of the quickest turnarounds I've seen for a very successful movie, where to go from theatrical to streaming, like to purchase to streaming. And then the same thing cannot be said for Final Reckoning, a movie that I just had to buy on sale because I didn't know it was coming in streaming. And then lo and behold, I saw it's on Paramount Plus, but I don't have Paramount Plus right now. And thank goodness I spent $9 on that movie last week. So I'm excited. I can watch it anytime I want now. I can watch him. I can watch all the Mission Impossibles again. I love it. Fallout is one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm not kidding. I could watch that movie 3 times over the course of 3 days and be equally ecstatic. I love that movie. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the decisions that are being made, but I think Netflix is the better option because I think they will do a better job with the company. And as for Comcast, NBC Universal, man, Peacock is struggling right now. But I will say this about Peacock. I love the playlists that they make for that. I think also the social stuff they do is pretty good. I just wish I could opt out of it on the Peacock platform. And they do have good programming over there, originals and the stuff that they produce. So like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Superstore and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it. Okay, listen, if you like what you're hearing, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talking to famous people. If you want to watch a video version of those conversations, as well as a video version of this show, as well as a video version of the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and the Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News Show, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Follow us on social. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on social media: Blue Sky, TikTok, and Instagram @cpluscomedy. Me @JabBlackWhite. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.